I'm joined by Andrew Thorpe, chairperson of the Maidstone and Weald Conservative Association, alongside Stephen James, chairman of the Folkestone and Hythe Conservative Association. Very interested to hear what you both think this morning. Stephen, let's start with you. Do you back the Prime Minister?
I certainly back him until we've seen the details and the facts in the report. I think, I've got to kind of, listen to what he's saying and kind of, accept that, that what his version of events are accurate. And until it's kind of proven otherwise, I think I'll support him.
You heard what Labour said, though. You're asking us to believe that you didn't understand your own rules. It's a very difficult position to defend, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is a difficult position to defend, but also I think what vast majority of Conservative supporters are doing, and MPs, are they kind of measuring up the kind of the wider impact of Boris's premiership and saying, look, let's give him the benefit of the doubt on this and look at the facts in the report and then make our judgment.
Andrea, do you give him the benefit of the doubt?
Well, I've been speaking to quite a lot of local people, judging by what the local people here in Kent are saying. They want him to stand down. Personally, since the report is imminent or Sue Gray's inquiry is imminent, I'm going to hide behind that shield.
But why? What do you think Sue Gray's going to tell you that you don't know already?
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? I'm waiting to see. I'm really waiting to see. But if it comes out that he's completely misled Parliament, then ministerial code, he has to stand down.
You say if. So you believe then, do you, at the moment, that he didn't realise he was at a party despite all the booze and everyone in the garden?
No, he knew he was at a party. He definitely knew he was at a party. Well, put it this way, he knew he was at a drinks gathering. It wasn't called a party in the email. It was drinks for the people that had been working in the bunker of 10 Downing Street.
But he did say, didn't he, that he didn't know anything, had no knowledge of parties, gatherings, call them what you will. So you already know what you need to know.
I think it was a little bit of a foolish comment to say he didn't know, but it's said, and that's it.
Okay. Turning back to you then, Stephen, I mean, it sounded a bit like, from what you said before, you thought the position was indefensible, but you were looking at, well, what the Prime Minister was hoping we would look at yesterday in the Commons, wasn't he? He was pointing to Brexit, to the vaccine rollout, to the easing of restrictions. You think overall he's an asset to the party?
Yeah, I certainly think overall he is an asset to the party, and and it's a shame with members of Parliament like Christian who's crossed the floor that he's not able to see that, because ultimately he owes his seat to Boris Johnson. The first time that seat became a Conservative seat was when Boris was at the helm. So it seems to me that they're being a little bit short-sighted. They're not kind of looking at the kind of the bigger picture. And what's interesting to me is that the cabinet is still remaining loyal to Boris. We haven't had any high-profile resignations. So the kind of the message is there, and I think that a real kind of measured and balanced approach to this for anyone. I mean, if you at your job were being investigated for something, and people kept saying, you should quit, you would rightly wait for any report saying whether you had actually done anything wrong.
That is a good point, but then it does beg the question, doesn't it? If there was something in that report that would get him off the hook, why isn't he just telling us now?
Because he ultimately has to wait for the contents of the report. He can't be seen to kind of preempt it, and that's what a lot of people are trying to do. They're assuming that the details in the report are already out in the public sphere, which I don't think they are. They're relying on Dominic Cummings's blog posts to guide them, and let's remind ourselves that Dominic Cummings was absolute the scourge of Labour and the SNP, but now they're singing his praises as some sort of bringer of truth, and it's just not the case. It's just a bitter man, and they're going through a kind of very, very public divorce at the moment. To me, it's almost like an episode of Game of Thrones where
Yes.
we're seeing where the next threat's going to come from. Yesterday it was Christian crossing the floor. who knows what's going to be happening next.
I have heard it compared to a revenge tragedy, in that sense, with Cummings in the background. But what did you make of what David Davis said yesterday? He was saying, I expect a leader to take responsibility. So he, parties or no parties, he was saying, look, the Prime Minister has admitted mistakes, but he's trying to blame other people for them. He needs to shoulder that burden himself. He is the leader.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, David Davis, it was unfortunate kind of comment in House of Commons during PM Keys. I think it's really difficult to watch as a Conservative when Conservatives turn in on each other and they start attacking each other. I mean, we've seen this before throughout history. We are a party that seems to, for some reason, enjoy regicide, and it was difficult to watch, and I will give him that. But also at the same time, again, I'm happy to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I want to see the contents of the report, and I will make my own decision, and I won't be kind of cajoled into it by the media, by other people either.
Well, do come back and tell us about that decision, as and when you've made it. Turning back to Andrea now, same question to you. I'm interested to know what you made of what David Davis had to say. I mean, you need a leader who leads, and David Davis was saying he hasn't taken responsibility here.
Well, it was an absolute bombshell, what David Davis said, but to a certain extent, he's absolutely right in that we need a leader to lead, and not somebody that's the culture of getting down with the kids at number 10 has to change. He's not led his team very well, and he either needs to change his advisors or listen, because I can't believe that nobody has said, Boris, you can't do this, and he's just not listened. So from that point of view, I don't think he's been leading very well. Having said that, he's done a lot of excellent things, including the vaccine rollout and the reversal of Plan B to Plan A. Many, many good things. And he's got a sense of humour, and he's very charismatic. And I am a fan of Boris, but we need somebody that's going to have strong Conservative values and get on with the job.
You said you can't believe that nobody warned him about the parties. Now he's saying nobody's warned him about the parties. Do you think he's lying then?
I don't like calling people liars. I just don't like it. But or he misunderstood or whatever. He just simply didn't listen.
Why don't you want to sort of say we could use the word dissembling? Do you think he's dissembling?
Good word.
And does it matter to you, though, in a leader, whether they're truthful?
Yes, it does. Yes, you want moral authority, integrity. Yes, it does matter.
And same question to you, Stephen. Does it matter to you whether your leader is a truth teller?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it matters to everybody, and I think just on the point on, he wasn't told it was a party. I think. We've got to put ourselves in the position of the Prime Minister. He is whisked from meeting to meeting, with his, advisors all around him. They'll say, right, this is coming up in this meeting. This is what you need to know. And, he's an extremely busy man. And, I can't even, begin to understand how kind of busy he would be. And the amount of information that he's probably given every single day, I think if I was honest with myself, I probably maybe wouldn't take all of that information in as it said to me, because you're being whisked from meeting to meeting.
There was a lot of busy people got a lot of fines actually for doing that kind of thing in the pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely, and I absolutely, I'm massively sympathetic to their cause now of kind of being, refunded their fees as well. But also, at the same time, you've got this, this real kind of position that we're in, where we're Conservatives and we're calling for restrictions, which is, the most anti-conservative thing. We are the majority of libertarians. We want to see rules relaxed. We want to see a small state. We want to see as little government interference in our everyday lives as possible. And Boris is one of those people. So it's a peculiar situation where we've got a Conservative government implementing almost socialist policies of lockdown and government interference in our lives. So it's it is a bizarre situation we find ourselves in.
I can sort of hear the cognitive dissonance, actually, that you're all having to wrestle with at the moment. Well, listen, both of you, I'd love to have this conversation again once we know more. You talk about that Sue Gray report. If you'd both be kind enough, we could invite you back on. And
it depends on the contents of the report.
Hopefully you won't be hiding, indeed. Listen, Stephen, Andrea, thank you so much for your time this morning.